Hello everyone, my name is png.jpg, but you can call me PNG for short. At time of writing, the Quick Play Hacked event Double Trouble has been live for a few hours, and I'd like to go back to doing what I used to do on YouTube, talk about it to an audience of like 5 people. I've played nearly 20 matches, so while that's not a gigantic sample size, I think I have a little authority to give my opinion, and spoiler alert, my opinion is not good. Before I get into it though, I'd like to speak just a little bit on where I've been the past 6 months or so. I stopped uploading stuff somewhat consistently, basically because I was running out of time and motivation. I didn't have any stuff I wanted to try, and I was running out of things I really wanted to talk about, and also I was going back to college. So I stopped making content for a while. The stuff I make isn't incredibly in-depth, my B-roll footage is just quick play gameplay I record a day or two before editing everything together, and the music I pick is always the same, and my outro's already been made. I basically just script what I want to talk about, record a voiceover, and put it all together. However, all that takes time and effort, and I needed to put that into schooling. While I'm still in school and my semester isn't even close to over yet, I wanted to try my hand at making some content again. This isn't something crazy new either. I saw the Quick Play Hack notification come up from Twitter and I thought I might try again just because I thought I'd like to. And this is not the first video I've tried to make again. I've gone through several phases of development with other ones, like a Season 7 intro video talking about the patch and the Trials of Sanctuary, which I believe I even recorded footage for and almost fully scripted, a video about my feelings on Moira, one about the patch giving Zenyatta 225 HP and the 7-second soft Discord cooldown, and a guide to Mercy, among other things. The one I wanted to finish the most, I think, was a Valentine's Day special talking about the things I loved about Overwatch, but that too never came to pass. But with any luck, I've fully produced this video, and with all that rambling out of the way, we can finally get into it. So, in case you haven't heard, on March 18th, 2024, the Overwatch team pushed a hotfix out with another Quick Play Hacked. The previous, and first, Quick Play Hacked was about increasing the capture and progress speed of all objectives in the core game modes. It was most likely quite a success, since the devs have said they are planning on implementing pushbot speed increases among some other changes related to that event. I'm sure most people are aware, but Overwatch did not always have hero limits. On the release of Overwatch 1 in May 2016, one team could have as many of the same character as desired. In July 2016, upon introducing the first post-release addition to the cast, Ana, the team added hero limits into competitive play, and they quickly followed into quick play and arcade. But no limits was left as a separate arcade mode and can still be played today. The team felt, I presume, since roll queue was added a few years later, and a tank was removed from each team even later, that they should try and examine those old format decisions that have existed for years, presumably starting with the first one, hero limits. I have 2 notes on that decision. I like that you tested it. I hate that we did. I love the idea of consistency, and it's nice to see that the new Overwatch team does too. If they want to go back and review all the old decisions they've made, it totally makes sense for them to start at the very beginning and to examine, first, the core fundamentals of objectives and capturing them, and then second, the way teams are composed. As an aside, I wonder if they will do a 6v6 experiment, since they seem to be retesting every large decision they've ever made in order. Anyway, the idea of the internal experiment was nice, but I think that would have been good enough. A dev blog with a quick, "we tested it, and it was bad," would have been plenty good enough for a hero limit test. Side note, they implemented this Quick Play Hacked in the same way as the old one, but it was only for one day, and on a Monday, no less, despite them saying that they'd run future ones differently after the first test. The graphic for the event also apparently mentioned that it would run all weekend, so I'm assuming this was a rather last-minute decision. I thought, as soon as I had heard about this test, that it would show us hero limits are good for the game, and after playing maybe 4 hours of games, I would stick by that statement. I think there's 2 ways to consider hero limits. As with most Overwatch decisions, competitively and casually. The devs have always tried to run the line between competitive and casual play so that both groups are happy, and it has rarely, if ever, worked. On the competitive side, hero limits make total sense and make gameplay more diverse. Oftentimes I see people argue that removing roll queue or hero limits would make the game have more room for creativity. And in a vacuum, yeah, that is true. However, we don't live in a vacuum, we live in the Earth's atmosphere. And here in the atmosphere, roll queue and hero limits actually expand diversity in play. The reason for that being, you can't run the best character twice. Typically, if a character is really good, you need to run them to have a good chance of winning. So, who wouldn't want to run that character twice over to get a double extra more good chance of winning? No one. And that's the issue. A ton of games I saw today were just 2 Tracers or 2 Sombras as the DPS core. I will mention my gripe about double Tracer or double Sombra in a moment, but allow me a second to finish my point. In a competitive environment, you will always run the best character twice in both roles you can, because that's just how meta works. Damage characters and support characters often don't need to work together to get stuff done. Ana and Kiri make a great backline, but 2 Kiris is just better in most situations you would need a Kiri. And if there's a Roadhog, for example, 2 Anas completely shut him down too, until the enemy swaps double Kiri. You see what I'm saying? If any one team goes 2 of the same character, it's likely the enemy will mirror it or swap it to double counter it. Same with role limits. In a competitive environment, you will always want to run the best set of roles to win. And in most of Overwatch's existence, that was just tanks and supports. While that may have changed recently with the addition of the exceptionally good damage roll passive, tanks and supports still have the capability to mitigate insane amounts of damage and control vast amounts of space that can only be challenged by another set of equally powerful tanks and supports. Getting kills in Overwatch is helpful, but never the main goal. The main goal is to capture objectives, and tanks and supports are just better at that. However, all of those arguments for these limitations assume you want to win the game and treat it like an actual battle. Some people just play this game for fun. Enter there the casual argument. To a non-competitive player, who cares if the enemy runs triple Kiri double Doom? If I lose the game, it's over in 15 minutes or less and I can re-queue to a lobby with a less sweaty enemy team. And they're right. If they only care about queuing quick plays for an hour a day, then why should we limit the character they play? Just let them queue up and select or swap to whoever they want, whenever they want. That does make the game feel more free, and it does allow the player to do anything regardless of competitive viability. However, that freedom only works if no one cares about winning. If the lobby is just 10 players looking to queue up quick and play their favorite hero, then who cares if 2 of them on the same team main Lifeweaver? Let them play him. But if more than one person on a team gives a shit about the match, it's instantly less fun for everyone. They all swap to the same meta character to counter the enemy team, and the team of casual players falls apart in 2 minutes. And it does sound like I'm vilifying the competitive player who just wants to win the match, and you are absolutely right, fuck that guy, he sucks. He sucks the fun right out of the match for everyone else in the game when they don't want to play competitively. But people do want to play competitively, and the game kinda seems to want to facilitate them, but not all the way, so we have to balance for that. Role limits and hero limits could prevent the casual players from selecting the character they want to play, but they do prevent the competitive players from dominating the game with a team comprised of only 1 or 2 of the best characters in the game. And even that is boring for competitive players. I truly believe hero limits are necessary for Overwatch to be a diverse game full of wacky heroes, bright colors, and tons of overpowered abilities. And after that whole argument I just had with myself, let's talk about my personal experiences with the mode a bit before I leave. I mentioned before how much I hated going against 2 Sombras or 2 Tracers, so allow me to elaborate. It's not fun. The moment-to-moment gameplay is like trying to shoot 2 gnats with a sniper rifle every 20 seconds. On top of that, Tracer and Sombra are exceptionally good by themselves, so having 2 of them means your support line is gone before they even exit the spawn room. I think 2 Tracers was way worse than 2 Sombras, since Tracer has a stopping power of like 22 military-grade frag grenades on her own, and having 2 of them grows that power exponentially. I could never stay alive against them unless we were running double Kiri, and even then it often felt like a gamble as to which of us was getting deleted before the Tracers ran out of cooldowns and overcommitted. 2 Sombras was much more annoying, since like 40% of the enemy team was invisible most of the match, but it felt so inconsistent as to whether they would actually accomplish anything. I'm not sure if it was a lack of skill or coordination, but in one match, the 2 Sombras never did anything. They would both get caught out and die before even getting 1 target to half health. In another game I remember much more vividly and painfully, they were completely destroying my team and we couldn't even leave the spawn. One Sombra showed up at my spawn room after we had been team killed and EMP'd us. I killed her, as Lifeweaver, and thought we were saved until I got hit in the back with a second virus and died. That Sombra also died immediately afterward. But what could I have done to survive that? I ate the EMP and the virus, killed the Sombra, and then I died to the other one I didn't know was there because she was invisible. That wasn't even necessarily a good play from them, since killing us out of spawn saves us the walking time to point and ushers us to the next fight where they're down an EMP way faster. It was just annoying and felt terrible. Double EMPs back-to-back was also a severe problem for any team, since that's around 50% of their health sapped, as well as being hacked for 6 seconds straight. Other goofy damage cores I saw were double Cass and double Pharah, which were both kinda funny. Seeing someone get hindered twice in a row and explode was hilarious in the same way that watching someone you don't know get hit by a car on Instagram is. And back-to-back Pharah barrages did happen, and I thought it was hilarious to watch an Orisa think she could live that by fortifying just to get blindsided by the second one and evaporate. As a support player though, I only played support, and I had a lot of fun with double Baptiste and double Lifeweaver. Having 2 lamps, regen bursts, and windows meant that nothing on your team died. I only played 2 Baps 3 times, but it was a full hold on defense every time. I imagine it was not fun for the enemy team, but I enjoyed myself. There was even a time when me and my other Weaver put up a tree in the same spot, at the same time, so perfectly that I thought the louder voice line was just an audio bug until I noticed the slightly out of sync tree circles on the ground. I'll play the clip for you, it was really cool actually. I think I'm all talked out now, so I think it's time for an outro. I think I might come back to making content again, but we'll see how that goes. I won't make any promises, and since I don't really have an audience, I don't think I need to. If anyone sees these videos and doesn't know me personally, I'd be a little surprised. Anyway, suffice it to say you may hear from me again soon, you may not. I don't know. But what I do know is that I'm done talking for now. So, I love yous. Bye.